Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com.
What's up YouTube, Dal here from Z4 Games, and today I am bringing you the brand new Joker's Night, Arcana's Night, or Poker's Night, whatever you like to call it, competitive profile. Now if you smash the like button and get at least 50 likes, that will unlock the next version of this deck, which is going to be the Joker Night or Arcana Night God deck. After that one, we then will be looking into a pure version, should you wish to see one of them as well. Stay tuned until the end because I will also show you two combos for the deck that give you an actually impressively insane board as well. With all of that out of the way, guys, let's dive head first into today's profile list for the Joker Night profile. So of course we play triple of the brand new Joker's Night. This is basically a free summoning deck, so you get to send a Queen, King or Jack's Knight from your deck to the graveyard as cost to special summon this card from the hand. If you do, this card's name becomes a sent monster's name, which is quite relevant when you're putting a King's Knight on the board, because then if this is counted as a Queen's Knight, you get a free Jack's Knight from the deck. Then during the end phase, you can target one other light warrior monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, add this card back from the graveyard to the hand. So it's got nice free recursion, 2k beta, it's just a nice free extender. We're then playing triple of the Imperial Boa, so again, this is another one of the brand new cards. This one is one of the best cards, but also one of the weak points of the deck. So if you control no other monsters, you contribute this card, take two different monsters from your deck amongst Kings, Queens, and Jack's Knights, and either add them to your hand or special summon them. Only use this effect once per turn. So it's like the Rescue Rabbit. It's insanely cool because it gets you the two free monsters on the board, but quite like all of the other cards that share the same effect like this, its prime target is going to be Ash. So you want to try and bait that out as early as you possibly can, because once you resolve the Imperial Boa, you pretty much get to go near enough full combo, because the idea behind that is it's going to give you instant rank 4 access, instant Isolde plays, and just lets you continue your work. Then we're going with triple Queen's Knight, triple King's Knight, and double Jack's Knight. So obviously the reason we've gone with two Jack's Knight over playing three is because you don't really need to be going through three of them. He will be a brick in the hand, so you need to make sure you don't ultimately see him. You can drop him to one if you want, but you want to be able to resolve the combos. You want to be able to resolve the Queens, Kings into Jack's Knight. You want to be able to resolve the combo off of your Jokers straight, and you want to be able to make your plays from there. Off the back of that, once you've resolved a Joker's straight, if you have a Joker's Knight in the hand, this gives you instant access to a Pallades, so you're going to get the ability for a rank 4 at the very least, and then of course the ability for a rank 5. Now that's at the base minimum. Anything else off the back of that can be used as free extension or free summons going further forward. Finishing off the Arcanas or the Jokers or anything like that, we do play the one Arcana Triumph Joker. Now this is in here purely more on nostalgia plays, in the sense that you kind of want to be playing it, but ultimately it's not going to have as much utility in this particular deck, because you have to hard search it, and then you need to be able to resolve one of the effects. The one thing that it does have is it has the ability of, not once per turn, destroying all face-up cards your opponent controls. So if it's in the hand or graveyard, you can send one Queens, Kings, and Jack's Knight. So you need to send all three from your hand and or face up from the monster zone to the graveyard. So very restrictive on that one. You get to special summon this card. This card gains 500 attack times the combined number of cards in both players' hands. You can discard one card, destroy all face-up cards that your opponent controls with the same type, monster, spell, or trap, as the discarded card. Now, that is not a once per turn, so literally, if you've got a spell, if you've got a trap, and you've got a monster in your hand, you literally go discard, destroy, discard, destroy, discard, destroy. You've cleared your opponent's entire board as long as they are face-up on the field. Of course, if they're not face-up on the field, then that's where everything gets a little bit tricky, and that's where the card doesn't falter massively, but it's kind of where it has a dip in usability. But still very, very cool card, puts the work in, and can really, really help you out on that one as well. Moving on to the spicy text, so massive shout out to Joe on this one. He suggested triple Galaxy Soldier. Now the reason this is so good is purely because if you open up one Galaxy Soldier plus ways of getting to these, and obviously you've got the ways to search them off of Boa, you've also got the way of getting a card to your hand off of Joker straight, so you've got a lot of consistent ways of getting to these. Galaxy Soldier basically allows you to go into Nova and Infinity, and that will then protect your plays going forward. Now obviously you won't be able to do that off of the back of Joker straight because it does lock you into special summoning only Light Warriors. But it is Light Warriors until the end of the turn. So if you resolve this first before any of that happens, you're then free to play. Now keep in mind, all you really need to do this is, yes, of course, specifically free cards because you need a Galaxy Soldier plus 2 light monsters. But if you're setting up your graveyard with any of the dead cards you've opened in your hand, if you're looking at stuff like Arcana Triumph Joker, or because she can come back from the graveyard, or anything along those lines, you do have the ability to extend further. Now we've got it at 3 for consistency factors, but if you wanted to, you could drop it down to 2 and not rely on it on heavily, or if you wanted to, cut it out completely. The idea behind this is, if you open up the ability of the 2-card combo, plus the Galaxy Soldier, your end board can end up being a Pallades, plus you'll recur some cards from the graveyard as well, so keep that in mind. It can be a Pallades alongside an Infinity and a Utopia Draco Future, or that Draco Future could become a Rusty Bardiche plus Fogblade, plus like an Appaloosa as well. Then we've gone for a warrior package because we want to be as consistent as possible. So we've gone with double Fireflint and the 1 Renard. Now obviously these are going to be coming off of Isolde, and the way this works is it just gives you that consistency in order to kind of extend your plays further forward. It also gives you that consistency to get cards out of your hand that may not be as used to you when they're locked. Gives you extension for rank 4 plays, gives you extension for link climb plays, and just gives you a lot of recursion. So obviously the idea is that Isolde will summon, Isolde will then send the fire equipped spell, the Duradol, to the graveyard and special summon out Renard. Renard will then add that Duradol back to your hand. You activate that Duradol onto the Renard and add a Fireflint Lady. You can then special summon the Fireflint Lady, and then your combo is able to go from there. Keeping in mind that if you've made a certain route of play and you've been able to get a, so for example, off of an Imperial Boa, you normal summon this, special summon out the 2, that gives you your full combo leading forward, and all you've exhorted to do that is the 1 card in the Imperial Boa from your hand. Everything else, your 4 remaining cards, can be stuff like Joker's Knight, can be stuff like free extensions, and even if it is another Queen's and King's Knight, you then have the ability of the Fireflint Lady. Keeping in mind that if you do get the Imperial Bow of the Queen and Kings, you do also get Jack's Knight, so your Jack's Knight can be saved for one side for a Pallades, or it can be used and abused, and used as link material climbing higher. We've then got the 1 Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. This is just for follow-up plays. So you search it off of Isolde. You know you're going to have an equipped spell in the graveyard. You've got the ability of bringing down the Gearfried. And that just gives you a nice beat monster that's going to be able to steal your opponent's monsters, but also can provide protection during your next turn as well. We've then got the 1 Codebreaker 0 Day. Now again, with the Codebreaker 0 Day, I really like the combo that orientates around this. And obviously that all stems from the Isolde play, which you'll see in the combo at the end. But the idea is this is going to be a free summon. It's also relevant if you decide to put in the Fusion spell, because it is a warrior monster with a different attribute. So that gives you the ability to successfully make the Gearfried 2-level fusion. This guy right here. So keep that in mind as well. Finishing off for the monsters, we do play the 1 Super Quantum Red Lair. It's just a free summon that if you open up Duradol going second, if you open up Red Lair going first, it's a free summon to hit the board. It also then gives you the ability to kind of link climb higher, and it's ways of maintaining your normal summon to try and bait out your opponent's effects. Then we are playing a small Phantom Knight package of course, Cloak and Boots, because leading through the combo, this sets you up a Fogblade, and it also sets you up, well, it can set you up 2 Fogblades if you want, but it can also set you up a Link 2 plus a Fogblade. So, yes, this is kind of like warrior orientated, but when you actually look at it, the only warrior engine we've got, or a minor warrior engine here, is like 8 cards. The Galaxy Soldiers can be taken out if you want to. If you wanted to go more like God focused, this is the engines that you can move around and shift around. But because you want to be as competitive as possible, when you've got a small engine like this that not only can lead you to an Appaloosa and link climbs, can lead you to Warrior Swarm, and can lead you to Fogblades and Rusty Bardiche, it would be kind of silly not to be playing something as utilised as that. The only downside with something like that is you do need to make sure you don't resolve the Joker straight early on in the combo. But if you don't resolve the Joker straight, again, that's absolutely fine, because then again, all of this combo is coming from 2 cards. So you're building your entire board from 2 cards, and then if you do have the ability to activate a Joker straight, that's just going to help you extend even further. Speaking of Joker Straight, probably the best card for the deck, in my opinion, is triple Joker Straight. Discard one card, special summon one Queens from your deck, add one King or Jack's Knight from your hand to the deck, and then immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one monster. You can't special summon monsters from your extra deck for the rest of this turn except light warrior monsters. And during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard, you can target one light warrior monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and add this card back to the hand. So the reason this works is it technically gives you an additional normal summon because it's a normal summon through a card effect. So the idea is you're going to add, summon out the Queen, add the King, special the King, additional normal of the King. Then you can use King's effect to summon Jack from the deck. Straight away, wham, bam, thank you ma'am, you've got your free level, you've got your free warrior monsters, all of your Kings, Queen and Jacks that can then be utilised for a fusion monster or anything like that. Obviously the downside is it is a discard, so you do need to be playing 2 cards just to be able to resolve this card and hope that you don't get ashed. Then we've gone with Pot of Prosperity. Now these can be any draw card you want or any draw card you own. Desires, Extrav's a little bit risky because your extra deck is only a bunch of one-offs, so you do need to be very, very specific depending on the way you build it, but it's entirely up to you. Whatever you have access to, you can go for. As you saw from the monster lineup, apart from the Warrior Engine, you're playing a lot of 3-ofs, so ultimately a Desires is not the end of the world. Then we play a lot of one-offs in the spells for Called by the Grey to protect your Imperial Boa, your Reinforcement of the Army, your Living Fossil, and of course your Infernoble Knight Yugioh. Now, one card that we are playing as a hand trap is triple Infinite Impermanence. But also keep in mind that because Imperial Boa attributes it as cost, a good hand trap option would of course be your Cypherane Gammas and of course Drivers. So entirely up to you if you want to be protecting that play. That can also help protect your Joker Straight. It can help protect your pot, and it can also help protect your stuff like your Reinforcement of the Army, your Infernoble Knight Yugioh, and everything along those lines. So being able to put that in is entirely option for you. I personally probably would, now considering it a little bit more in depth, just because it protects so much more for you that it allows you to utilize and play a little bit more. Now let me just double check the Imperial Boa. Yeah, so it attributes as cost. So yeah, Gamma will probably be a better option. So in my opinion, this is your Gamma Engine. We're at a 40 card deck, so Gamma Engine plus Driver gives you the full protection you need. Then got the one Fog Blade and the one Shade Brigandine. Now obviously the Shade Brigandine is there to help extend your combos. You only need the one Fog Blade because you're going to be able to set that off of your Bardiche. If you wanted to and you didn't want to play the Shade Brigandine, you didn't want to go as heavily combo, this can be a second Fog Blade, which just gives you another line of defense. And the best thing about a deck like this is you'll have front row and back row protection. Keeping in mind that if you do play the Driver and Gamma Engine as well, I would put an Omega in the extra deck purely because once you've resolved it, you make Omega, you rip one from your opponent's hand. That then means that they are going to be down 2 cards, so they're going to be operating with 3 cards in their hand, and then that then ultimately allows you to extend your plays further forward because it does give you a free monster if you wanted to leave those 2 monsters on the board and use them as link materials to get into your light warriors. But otherwise than that, you can just rip one from your opponent's hand and then continue to play a little bit more, because Nibiru can hurt this deck as well. So, moving on to the extra deck, we'll go over the Link monsters first, and then we'll go over the XYZs, because the XYZs have a nice tinge of spice, which I absolutely love. So, for the Link monsters, we are playing the one Isolde. You can play 2 if you want. It really does come down to consistency factors and how many times you expect to resolve the Isolde. But it's mainly there because once you activate the first one, if it gets stopped, you can make a second one and off you go from there. But Isolde is your combo start, gets everything going. You've then got the Code Breakers, because obviously making these under one of the monsters that I'm showing you now, which is the Draco Master of the Tenyi, gives you the 2 link zones that you need, gives you a warrior from the deck, can help extend into rank 4 plays should you want to, but can also help extend you into your link climb plays, which ultimately ends up leading you into this guy, your Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche, and then that obviously can lead you into an Appaloosa, not off of the back of Bardiche, keep that in mind, but you would be using the Draco Master plus the Codebreaker viruses to go into your Appaloosa, giving you more protection going further forward. As an aggressive option, you do have your access code, but the downside for the access code is unless you've used Appaloosa, you are only going to have lights and darks. So another option or an alternative to access code will of course be Borrel Sword, and that just gives you the ability to shift some of your lower level warriors and then attack from there. Keeping in mind that once you've activated certain effects, you're not going to be able to link summon any of these cards apart from the Isolde because they are not light warriors. And that's where the Arcanite Extra Joker comes into play. Now, These cards aren't as strong as I would like them to be because they are very specific and reliant on targeting. And I think there's so many cards in the game right now that just bypass targeting. They're like non-target destroy, non-target send, stuff like that. But you want to make sure that if you go this route, you're not activating your Joker straight. But if you have activated your Joker straight, you can now go this route. So, apart from the Cyber Dragon, Nova, and Infinity, which is specifically for the Galaxy Soldier, and if you don't like that engine, take it out completely. The other engine that we are going to be playing, which is going to allow you to use and abuse the brand new number F-Zero Utopic Draco Future, which I'll get to in a minute, is the Star Liege Power Dynamo and your Heroic Challenger Excalibur. Now, the reason we've had to play these two is because in order to make your number F-Zero Utopic Future, you need 2 XYZ monsters with the same rank, except number monsters. Now, these require specifically warrior monsters and light level 4 monsters, which is exactly what you're going to be pumping out onto the board consistently. Now, the only downside of this is if you do partially make part of the combo with the code breakers, you're then going to need to go a different rank 4 route, which is where I'm considering putting in a Time Thief Redoer, purely for the fact that we do also play the Shade Brigandine, so that does give you the ability that if you don't want to go into a Link 2 off of the back of the code breaker and the Bardiche plays, you can activate the Shade Brigandine, make a Redoer, and that gives you ability for a free bounce as well. So there are options for you to consider along that route. Then, of course, you do have the F-Zero Utopic Draco. Now, this requires 3 XYZ monsters with the same rank, except number monsters, but you can also XYZ summon this card using F-Zero Utopic Future as material, and you transfer all of the materials to it. It can't be destroyed by battle or card effect, and once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, detach your material from this card, negate the activation. If you do, and that monster is on the field, you take control of it. So the idea behind this is you'd put 2 materials to make Power Dynamo, 2 materials to make your Heroic Challenger, then you'd overlay those 2, giving it 6 materials going into Utopic Future, and then you'd overlay again going into your Utopic Draco Future, giving it 7 materials. So it's going to be a very, very tough card to deal with. It does mean that you are putting a lot of resource into making it, but it gives you another defensive route should you activate the Joker's straight, and you have to make your plays from there. So keep in mind the Joker's straight plus an Imperial Boa is what leads to this, and that gives you more than enough monsters that you need to make this board. And if you do get lucky and you've got the Joker's Knight in hand as well, you can also get into a Constellar Pallades, so that then gives you a bounce plus a monster negate. And if you're backing that up with any back row, you do cause your opponent issues. Again, it is a very big engine because it does take up 4 cards, but that's where cards like your Redoer comes into play. It's also an area that you can put in Utopia support, especially when we get the new Utopia cards coming out in the structure deck. Hopefully it's a structure deck, please, Konami. But then you also have the ability to be looking into stuff like the Omega as well. So that's it for the extra deck. Like I said, these are our alternatives or alternative options. Don't worry, I've not shown you a 16 card extra deck without a reasoning behind it. It is entirely up to you on where you'd like to go with it, and then that kind of gives you the ability of which one you want to swap out. You can technically swap out the Heroic Challenger or the Power Dynamo for the Redoer, and still make the Utopic Future, because of course Redoer is not a number monster, but in order to do that you then need to make sure you're not under the Joker straight. So the idea is that under the Joker straight you still have the ability to resolve this, because you won't be able to resolve this. Whereas if you take one of these out and put it for the Redoer, either way you do it, you will not be able to resolve this. You've got to be very, very cautious on what you're playing. Another 2 flex spots, like I said, is the Cyber Dragon Nova and the Infinity. So you can take these 2 out, put in your Gamma package, put in the Redoer, and then put in your Omega, and you're good to go from there as well. So that is it for the profile. Now we're going to reset the board state, and I will show you the 2 combos that I have for this deck. One that will be Link focused, and one that will be XYZ focused. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the 2 different combos that involve the brand new cards. Now, one of them involves Imperial Boa and Joker's Knight, and that pretty much gives you a full Link climb combo. The other one is if you wanted to add in Joker's straight plus any discard, it goes an XYZ route, but you can also do the same XYZ route using Imperial Boa and Joker's Knight, or using Joker's straight with a discard and Imperial Boa. So I'm going to take you through these combos and show you what they can do. So you're going to start off with your Imperial Boa. The idea is that you're going to be able to either bait out the hand trap, or you're going to be playing Gamma just to kind of get around it, and it does give you additional bodies. What you want to do is you tribute off the Boa using its own effect to special summon out a King and a Queen from the deck. Now, sadly, King's Effect will only go off if it is when it is normal summon specifically. It's always nice in a reprint set like this if they actually update card text to modernize it a little bit more. But regardless, so straight off the Imperial Bow, you get 2 free monsters. So you're going to be going into your Isolde, as they are both warriors. With the summon of Isolde, I'm going to find her. There we go. I'll use her as a token. Of the summon of Isolde, use her effect to add. If you're worried about anything like a Ghost Ogre or anything like that, then don't, of course, add. But you get to add the Gearfried. So this can technically be your free discard if you did this route and you had the Joker's Straight instead of the Joker's Knight. Then what you want to be doing is you want to be sending the 1 equip spell, whether that be your Living Fossil, but you ideally want to be sending the Duradol to the graveyard and special summon out Renard. Then you're going to be adding back with Renard the Duradol, activate the Duradol to then special summon the Fireflint from your hand, or add the Fireflint and then special summon it because you control a warrior. Now this will be the part of the combo that then adapts depending on which route you want to go. If you've got the Joker's Straight, then you go for an XYZ route, but because we've got the Joker's Knight, we're going to go for the Link Climb route. Now what you want to do here, this is the point when you want to special summon down the Joker's Knight. Send anything from your deck. You can send a Jack's Knight, or of course you can send a King or a Queen. Doesn't really matter. You're going to add Jack's Knight back, Joker's Knight back to the hand anyway. Then what you want to do here is using your Isolde Noble Knight and your Fireflint. You're going to want to go into your Draco Master of the Tenyi, and it just requires 2 monsters including Link Monster, which of course was the Isolde. The Duradol will, of course, be in the grave. You're then going to use your 2 warriors, being Joker's Knight and your Renard, and you're going to go into your Link 2 of the Code Virus, which just requires 2 effect monsters. Then going to use the effect of the Codebreaker Virus. Because there is a spare zone the Link points to, you can special summon out the Codebreaker from your deck. Then obviously what you do here is you link these 2 together, you go into your Codebreaker Virus, Berserker, and then that will then revive the Virus Swordsman and the 0 Day. Now if you want to be ending this board with a rank 4, whether that be a bounce if you're playing the Time Thief Redoer, or if you wanted to play the Verte Anaconda combo, then you want to keep your Codebreaker 0 Day free. Now what that ultimately means is that you are going to overpay for your Bardiche. So obviously to underpay or to pay the exact cost you require, what you're going to want to do is use Code Virus Swordsman and your 0 Day. But technically, apart from the fact that these are just higher level Link monsters, these are actually free fodder. So you're going to use these and you're going to go into your Bardiche. Now off of the back of the Bardiche, you're going to use his effect, and you're going to send a cloak from your deck to the graveyard, and you're going to set the Shade Brigadine. Now keep in mind, you want to make sure that you don't send a trap off the Joker, otherwise your Brigadine will become dead. So Brigadine is going to be a free summon later on. You're going to banish the cloak, and that is going to allow you to add the boots, which is ultimately going to lead you to a Fogblade. So what you want to do here, because you control Phantom Knight, is you special summon down the boots. You're going to activate the Shade Brigadine, and then you want to use the boots plus the Draco Master. You are not locked into anything specific right now. You're going to go for a 2 negate Appaloosa. This is just for additional interruptions during your opponent's turn. And then what you can do here is you can overlay these 2, go into any rank 4 you want, whether it be Time Thief Redoer, or if you play like Abyss Dweller, anything like that. This gives a free steal off your top of your opponent's deck and a bounce. And then you're going to banish the boots in the graveyard, and you're going to set yourself a single Fogblade. Now, obviously, if you chose to go for a Link 2 instead of the XYZ, then what you could technically do is you can set a Fogblade rather than a Bardiche, and then you can set a second Fogblade. So you'd end up with a Link 2, if that's going to be Verte Anaconda, so be it. And then you'll also end up with a 2 negate Appaloosa plus 2 Fogblades. So that can cause your opponent a lot of issues. So now what we're going to do is we're going to reset this. I'm going to do the combo from the start again, but we're going to replace the Joker's Knight for a Joker's Straight, and you can see how that will then go the XYZ focused build as well. So one thing that you would do in the end phase of that, and depending if you've got any more extensions, keep in mind you only use 2 cards. You'd add the Joker's Knight back to the hand, and then you can go a little bit further from there if you ended up getting like the red layer or anything like that. So on this combo, we're going to go with the Imperial Boa and the Joker's Straight. Now, there's 2 routes you can go with this. One route requires you to have a discard in the hand. The other route doesn't, because you'll get that search off of the Isolde. So again, the exact same play of the Imperial Boa, tribute off the Boa, get you 2 monsters from the deck, being a King and a Queen. Now, this is the point where the combo can change from the one I've just shown you. If you wanted to, you would run this combo the exact same. You'd make Isolde, you'd add a Gearfried or any warrior that you want to discard, because that would be the discard off a Joker Straight. And then, of course, you'd set up the Renard plus the Fireflint play. So basically, the idea would be that you then use Fireflint. I'll show you the combo. Let's do it this way. So King's Knight, Queen's Knight. goes into Isolde. Isolde add, we're going to add Red Lair, she's going to be free discard, doesn't really matter. Send the equip spell, summon out Renard. Renard add back the quick spell, the equip spell. Activate the equip spell, search Fire Flint, special Fire Flint. Now, the profile that I've shown you guys isn't built for this combo. But the way this would work is you'd make any rank 1 XYZ monster you want to, then you'd put Downward Magician on top of it. So that then instantly gives you the rank 4 play. So let's just say that this is Downward Magician on top of a rank 1. So it could be the Princess Sprite to give you an excavation off the top. Entirely up to you. Then what you'd do is you'd activate Joker straight, discarding the Red Lair that you've got, and this will allow you to summon out a Queen's Knight. Now, by summoning out a Queen's Knight from the deck, you then get to add the King's Knight to your hand, and resolve this effect to then normal summon the King's Knight. That then gives you the ability to trigger King's Knight effect to special you out a Jack's Knight. Now the issue with this is because you now can only go into Light Warriors from the edge, that is where it needs to change up a little bit. So what you would then do here, because you've got a rank 4 XYZ that is not a number over here, you'd make an XYZ that is not a number over here, and you would use Jack's Knight plus Isolde, and you would go into your Link 3, or any Link 3 that you've got that is a Light Warrior. So you can go into, oh, you can't even go into the Arcana Extra Knight Joker. So then maybe you just leave that as it is. The idea is that if you add a Joker's Knight to this hand, then this becomes a Pallades, so you're fine. But the idea behind this is you're then going to overlay these 2 monsters of no numbers but the same rank into your F0, and then you're going to turn your F0 into your Dracket Future. So you're going to get the negates here, and like I said, the Joker's Knight adds to this to make it a rank 5 Pallades. Now, if we take this all the way back, and we're just going to keep it very, very simple. We don't even need to worry about the rank 1s or any of the stuff like that. So we're going to take this all the way back to the Boa. So our hand will be Joker straight, random discard, plus the Boa. We've activated the Boa effect, and we've summoned out a King and Queen from the deck. And then what you want to do here is you want to activate the Joker straight, send whatever card you've got there, and that's going to let you trigger the exact same play that we've just seen. So it lets you special Queen's Knight, it lets you additional normal of a King's Knight, and then it lets you special from the deck a Jack's Knight. Now again, the Jack's Knight is just free fodder, it's just on the board. If you do have additional extenders, like if you've opened up Fire Flint or anything like that, you go from there. Now from this simple combo with the discard, you then ultimately end up going, right, okay, cool, Heroic Challenger on that one, very basic, and you go Starlage Power Dynamo there, 2 monsters that are of the same rank but not numbers go into F0, and then go into your Topit Draco Future. So that's from 2.5 cards. You still got 2 cards to play around with, and if you've ended up discarding, like, you're going to add back the Joker straight to your hand. If you've ended up discarding any of the trap cards, you're going to add that back to the hand as well. But this is kind of where you can alternate the combo. So you literally just go all in. Here you go, I'm sitting on a 7 material Utopic Draco Future, can't be destroyed by battle, 3k attack, and has got a monster negate every single time that he wants it, with a 1900 Jack's Knight that can just sit there. Now, like I said, if the previous hand literally just adds Imperial Boa and your Joker's Knight to it, you do the exact same combo, do the rank ups that you need to, make you Utopic Future, and then ultimately so your hand would be something like this. You ultimately then just get special summon down the Joker's Knight, and you overlay this into your Pallades, which then means you'd also be left with Isolde, I believe, as well. Which isn't the end of the world, having an additional monster on the board, but you're then looking for a quick effect bounce, and you've got a Omni Negate. So, Monster Negate. So ultimately the combo does come down to whether you want to be ending your board on, I think the first combo is a lot stronger, obviously, because it ends you on 2 back rows, it ends you on a 2 Negate Appaloosa, it ends you on a bounce of a XYZ, or that can be a Verti Anaconda, Link 2, whatever you want, because you don't lock yourself under the Joker straight restriction. Anyway, hope this combo's helped. I know I've gone in a bit of depth for this combo, but I wanted to kind of show you the options that you've got. If you do want to see a pure version of this deck, and you want to see the God version of this deck, then of course, smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. Get this video up to at least 50 likes, and I'll be more than happy to bring them for you, and we can go from there. But, as absolutely always, guys, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.
Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com.